Once upon a time, a man got lost in the desert, and he was dying of thirst. And so as he walked and tried to find the way out, he came upon a man with the sign, a little tray, a little sign that said, "Tithes, $5. And he said, "I need water." And the guy says, "You need a tithe." No, you don't understand. I'm dying of thirst. I need water. And the guy says, "You need a tithe." He says, "Oh, for Pete's sake, you're no good." And he continued to walk. And he continued to walk for another 5 miles. By this time, he was completely spent, just completely wiped out. And as he gets over the top of a dune, he sees a restaurant. You're like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." And he goes down to the restaurant, and there's a sign: "No entry without a tie." Poor Jeremiah. Jeremiah is a prophet, and he's trying to explain to the people why they need to obey God. And they don't want to obey God. They think they can do whatever they want. And they say, "Let us plot against Jeremiah." It will not mean loss of instruction from the priests, nor of counsel from the wise, nor of messages from the prophets. And so let us destroy him. The older I get, the more I see what was going on in the time of the prophets in our country, probably in our world, but definitely in our country. We think that we do not need the teaching authority of the church. We think that we can decide what gospel values will be. And when they are inconvenient, we dismiss them or we attack them. Now, there are some things that are big, glaring issues. For example, politicians who are pro-abortion and claim to be Catholic. You just can't do that, all right? But there are lots of smaller things that we do. And I want you to focus on these because it's Lent. What are the difficult teachings of the church, the difficult teachings of Jesus that, specifically that we find in the gospel? Maybe turn the other cheek. Maybe don't gossip. Maybe don't judge. Maybe help the poor, whatever. But what are those teachings that we dismiss the way they did in the time of the prophet Jeremiah? What are the things that are not popular? I do think that one of the difficulties for the Catholic Church in the United States is for generations we have tried to fit in. And that is a mistake. I just found this out within the last year. If you are members of this parish, then you are parishioners. And that comes from the same root word as pariah. Pariah, someone who is, thrown out, someone who is hated, someone is just considered, unacceptable. Jesus' time, Christians were considered unacceptable. In our day and age, we work too hard to be acceptable, not to God, who we should work that, but to the society. We want to be popular. We want to fit in. And we don't try to be pariahs, but if we follow the gospel and if we follow Jesus and if we are true to the teaching of the church, we're going to be pariahs. And that's not something that we would want to do on an earthly level. But if we are going to be followers of Jesus Christ, we should know that that is there and it's going to happen. And we are not alone, because this has happened to Christians for centuries. But we are still called not to decide which laws we can follow or not follow, not to say, I have my own personal Jesus, or, my own personal God. We can't do that. We have to follow Jesus.